Hello and welcome, and today we are talking about social injustice, a subject very dear to my heart if indeed you followed my works in the media, because I just can't see what it is that we can't seem to realize that as a society there should be equity for all who live in it. Even trees and animals should have some level of societal justice. But we have become so civilized that we just think that it's only the able young ones that matter. Therefore, if you are unable to see properly, you're not proper. You're not part of us. If you're unable to walk properly, you're not part of us. If you are too old, you're not part of us. And I also believe that any society that deems that it's civilized, it's not because of its Trasacos or its East Airports or its East Legones, but no, it's how the mental homes are being looked after and how the people with disability in that society are treated equally. And sometimes it's not that they want sympathy, they want understanding and access. Therefore, if I have a limp, I don't need you to sympathize with me, just provide a ramp and I'll show up. If I can't see properly, make sure there are no obstructions in my way and I will show up. But we haven't gotten it yet, how difficult it is. Now, anytime the lights go off for a couple of days, you turn on the radio the next morning and the whole city is at rage because we are living in the dark. Can you imagine living in the dark all your life? And yet still you go about your daily chores, without complaining. But now you see yourself through school and you want a job and you just still can't find a job. Now I have a very, very unique show for you today, and I hope it will touch the hearts and minds of every Ghanaian and indeed the country at large, so that we turn our things around and posterity will at least judge us rightly. My name is Nana Nsakwa, and this is PM Express. When I come back, I am talking to Doche Kofiga and Yeboah Ferry. But who are they? Stay tuned, I'm coming. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're talking social injustice. And as I introduced before we went on the break, I am talking to Doche Kofiga and Aferi Yeboah. Who are they? They are spokespersons for unemployed graduates with disability. Now, they have a very, very peculiar problem. And indeed, they have threatened to actually hit the streets and demonstrate if that's what is going to get them heard. So we in Multimedia and PM Express said, well, why don't we give you a platform to air your grievances, which we feel it's quite justified. But we're just going to go all the way back and see how challenging life would be in their situation. They're both visually impaired, and then we'll find out why it is they want to hit the road and demonstrate. Doche, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And Aferi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good. Now, if you have to be very loud, because I know you're very loud. Edward, let me start with you. I just want to find out, were you born with a visual impairment, or it happened as you were going along?
I was born totally blind, and I was told that there were, I think, cataracts that was on my eye. And when it got removed from Agogo, I could see a little bit. So as you are here, I can see you that you are wearing white and a dark coat.
Okay, okay. Okay, so you were sort of partially...
Yes, I can at least move around.
I see, I see. And Aferi Yeboah?
Yeah, for me too, I think I have an opposite situation to that of David. I was born partially sighted. That's to say, I could see a little bit, but I couldn't read. So I was taken to school. I was schooling at Akropon School for the Blind. In that school, we do play football. So one Saturday we were playing football, the ball hit my eye, and that's how come I became totally blind. So I cannot see you at all.
Wow, wow, wow. So, but there has been a time where you could see before.
I could see a little, yes. Just like David can see now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still live at the same place where you were born, or have you moved?
No, I still live at the same place.
So then I can believe that at the young age you must have had like a picture memory which you used.
Sure, yeah.
Are you still using the same picture memory, or things have changed now?
Obviously, things have changed. The environment have changed a little bit because it's been more than 15 years since I went totally blind. So it's changed, but I still have the picture. I still picture it, the way it was before I became totally blind.
And you use that with your mobility?
Yes, it helps me to some extent. But you know, 15 years is a long time, and new buildings have cropped up, and so movement is not the same as it was.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And Kofi, I mean, you have some side. I mean, so are you able to go about on your own, or would you need help?
Oh, I can go back. I can walk without much assistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to. So like throughout class 1, you went to Okropon School for the Blind, or you went somewhere else?
No, School for the Blind.
From
throughout,
class 1
up to JSS 3, to Okropon Secondary, to University of Ghana.
Now, how challenging was that?
Oh, when you were for School for the Blind, you know, you use the braille, and it is all visual impaired.
Okay.
So, but we use the braille for everything. Some of the pamphlets that our colleagues will get, we can't get them because we only rely on the textbooks that are released. You know, the textbook doesn't have enough information to let you pass, so you have to chew whatever you have to enable you pass to the secondary level.
Would you write the same exam as
the same exam? The medium is just the medium of writing is the different. The same questions, everything, word for word. Even I remember, you know, a Greek. The paper 1 normally has to be with the digestive system of either a ram or whatever. They draw that one for us to fill with our hands and name the parts. So the same thing. The same thing.
But so how would they draw it?
Yeah, they are way of drawing it. The esophagus, the gizzard, they draw everything, and you have to fill it and name the parts. Part of paper 1 of a Greek. I don't know whether it has changed, but when I was there, I was a student then. That was how it was.
Yeah, but do you think the examination system is fair, or should they, you know, rewrite it for those who are visually impaired?
Well, for the examination system, I don't have much problem, but it's the entire curriculum as to whether it's more accessible and the kind of books. You know, we do not have access to all the textbooks, all the books, so sometimes we do struggle. But once we have all the available information, all the materials that our colleagues, able-bodied persons use, then I don't think examination is going to be a problem. Because when we went through the same SSCE, then the university did the same thing we did. So once we have all the materials, that's the most important thing, and not the examination.
I see. Yeah. I see. And are they available materials, or they were
not as we wanted, not as we want.
So from School for the Blind, you went to Okropon?
Yes.
How's conditions in Okropon?
Oh, Okropon started integration for a long time, so admitting person with disability and visual impairs were excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, as for the materials, as we talk about, the books were not that accessible, but we were able to manage with recording and others to sail through the system.
Perhaps the only challenge over there is that, you know, we go there, you meet your sighted colleagues, and for most of them, that's their first time of mingling with people or visual. Yeah, so sometimes they do struggle. That's a little bit. They don't seem to understand our conditions, but with time, we are able to cope with each other, and then we go on.
But I know, you need to go all the way down the hill to fetch water, and then come back up. So how do you manage?
Oh, that one we normally, some of us go, but we normally rely on our friends to, you know, as for that place. The valley inside there.
But sometimes we do it ourselves too,
or
with their assistance.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is how you manage through, you know, school till you finish SS, and then you have to go to university.
Yes.
Now, Kofi, what course did you do at university?
I was offered religion, history, and political science in level 100, and level 300 I dropped the history, and I minored in religions, and I majored in political science.
Okay, okay. And what did you do?
I did education at the University of Cape Coast, but I majored in history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've passed through now, so you obviously got it.
Yes.
Did you have any papers to reset, or you went through?
Not at all. I didn't even write a receipt paper from level 100 to 300 or 400.
I'm saying that because, you know, I have my sighted eyes and, you know, it wasn't that easy.
I never had the paper that I failed and I need to resit. Not at all.
That's it.
How long ago, Kofi, did you finish Legon?
Oh, 3 years ago. I finished 2013. I graduated the same year. So.
Okay. And
the same thing, yeah.
The same year for you too?
The same year. Yes.
I see. Have you known each other from school for the run and through
Okwaman? Yes. But we separated going to a tertiary.
Yeah. He went to Legon, I went to UCC. So.
Well, how's life through the, UCC?
Well, it's not easy. Those who know the conditions over there, the kind of academic, the system at UCC itself, you know, it's very rigid. So it has not been easy. Sometimes you have to write quizzes at dawn, and so, but we just try to, you know, sometimes when you find yourself in a condition or in a situation, you try to cope no matter how it is. So in the beginning it was not easy. When we went first at level 100, it was not easy, but with time, by the time I got to 200, 300, things were very normal with me. So
okay, you've gotten used to the conditions.
Sure.
And Joshua, I want to hear your story too. 3-4 years through university.
Oh, Legon, interesting place. There are a lot of drains over there that are open, a lot of open drains. But we have been able to, my first time I fell in a very deep gutter in front of CC. Okay. I had a lot of friends coming to raise me out of the gutter. That's my first experience. But ever since I realized that when I'm getting there, I know that there's a gutter here. So when it's light off, even on campus, I can go to every place on campus. So far as I've been able to stay there for 4 years. So
you have that memory?
Yes. If there's no light, so far as I know that I'm supposed to pass every day, my white cane I can go. Wow. I have that picture in mind.
Sure.
So, and living there for 4 years, I mean.
So what would you do? Like count your footsteps?
No, it's normal. It's natural. You know, when you are going, sometimes when you are walking, somebody tell you take time. You are confident that you know the route. So unless somebody put a bucket, they will dig a hole, or they put a material there that you bump yourself into, you go freely. That is it.
Now the challenge is that you've graduated, and ideally, like anybody who's gone through school, you want to get yourself employed. What are the challenges?
Oh, I will start with some. The challenges are enormous, and until the society change attitude towards persons with disability, we will still remain the way we are. Now, please, the discussion is not only for visual impaired.
No.
It is persons with disability across Legon, Winneba, UCC, and other tertiary institutions, and even those who are in the houses. We started by writing letters to the Gender Ministry, the Chief of Staff, and the Employment Ministry. And when we write, we copy other ministries that we think can help our cause. So, Honorable Harina Iriso responded by inviting us for us to come for him to know what actually our problems were. And we went there, and he said that there's an embargo on employment. We are talking about 36 people, and there's an embargo. IMF says, or whoever says they should employ 36 people. So we went, and he said, okay, they can employ 14 of us to JIDA, down YEA, and the rest who did education will be sent to the classroom. And interestingly, he did that. So those 17 people we sent to GES, GES has started calling them for them to bring assurance letters. And I think it's a step in the right direction.
And but how long has this battle been going on?
Since last year.
Afraid, I think you want to add?
Yeah, since we started this in December last year. Yeah, but so let me just continue before I want to talk about the general unemployment, the general challenges. But first, let me just go ahead and finish what David started. So, you know, some went to GS, as he said. The rest, 14, were sent to JIDA. We had an interview on 25th June this year, 14 of us. So after the interview, we were assured that our appointment letters were going to be released within days. But up to now, today is the 9th or 10th. We are still here.
And the interview was organized by Public Service Commission.
Okay, hold on. Let me speak to Cecil Gabra, who's joining us on the line now. Cecil, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, we have a very peculiar situation in the studio today, and I know, being who you are, you would be able to shed some light. I have Doche Kofiga and Yebuafe, both visually impaired, have managed to go through a challenging education system. They are graduates, and all they need to do is to find a job. How challenging is it out there?
Well, this is quite interesting and a very difficult one. I'll start to reach all your viewers and listeners. However, I have set this precedent. Last Monday, I turned 50 years, and as part of my plan, I celebrated my 50th birthday with a school for the blind in Krofong, where I brought them to Accra, 40 of them, and we had a walk with them. After the walk, we had breakfast, we had lunch, we spoke to them to find out their difficulties. And if there's time, I'll tell you about the difficulties. But then, however, on job relations, like your panelists are saying, it is up to the government. It's the role of the government that they must assist and encourage persons with disabilities towards employment. This is done everywhere. In the US, it is there. The disability person must be first in terms of enrollment. What sort of interviews are you talking about? They've been to school, they know what they have to do, and we need to assist them. We need to educate the general public as well on how to even handle disabled. I mean, people feel if you are disabled, then it means you are not part of society. It's just a sad situation. I heard a gentleman saying he went to the Minister of Labour. This must be automatic. We should have at least a quota for employment for all disability persons in this country, whether they have eye problems or they are physically challenged. We should have a quota on employment, on the government employment schedule every year, because they go to school. Even the school for the blind, for instance, when I went there, I saw a lot of people are there coming all the way from other regions. And I asked myself, is that the only school? This is even a third one. We should look at the situation to set up many more schools for the disabilities and then educate them. I mean, these are human beings, they are truthful than even some of us who are not challenged in that respect.
I mean, I was actually going to ask you about the quota, but you signed it, because I know in other jurisdictions, even private companies are obliged to have a certain quota for people with disability. You must hire some. Should we?
Precisely. In actual fact, that is what exactly I'm looking at. And I will say that it should be extended to the private industry, because they will learn more when they are recruited by the private company. In fact, I am looking at it to employ people like that for me to tell the whole world that, look, they are human beings, they should be part of society, and they also have to, in any way, raise a family and take care of the family.
So what is it that, I mean, I know times have moved on, information is rife in the world. Why are we so stuck behind? Why can't we catch up with the world?
Well, I'll say for now that everything in this country is based on politics, and way forward must be established for us to know what must be our priorities. And honestly speaking, our priorities is for us to look at challenges in the world in terms of some of issues which have been raised by your panelists, so as to bring equality to both physical, like us, as well as disabled, like those that you have in the studio. We should all have one aim in this life: to build our families, to make money, and to help the governments to grow.
So hold the line for me 1 second. Let me come to the studio. I mean, Kofi, have you applied to any, apart from meeting the minister, have you applied to, let's say, a school or a company, and what was the reply?
Let me be frank with you, to your listeners, that I have not applied, but my members have applied to I saw one CV, 50 private and government agencies, 50, and he has not gotten one single response. 50.
Is it you feel because he's put his condition on the
perfectly
paper?
That is me. For me, my understanding that because he's physically disabled, he has a problem with speech. Because of that, that's why he has been denied. On no certain term that I will accept that because of anything else.
Could it be, and I'm not being that, let's say if I have a problem with speech and I apply to a job where I have to be speaking, then the employer may say, look, if I hire you, you may not be able to speak to my client. But if I apply to a job where I have to do writing, then I wouldn't have a problem because, well, maybe your speech is blurred, but you can write.
Yes, perfectly. But those 50 organizations, some of them are supposed to be some of the new print media. You see me having a PC in front of me now. Sure. It is only the only problem like a visually impaired will have. If it's about typing, this is a normal computer I'm having in front of me. It's only installed a program on it and you can access it. This is a letter we wrote to the police. Nobody wrote it for us. I can issue, if there's a printer, I issue for printing. This same letter will be printed. It doesn't need an eye to type this. Okay? So if somebody is physically disabled who cannot speak up, there is something that person can add up to the development of this nation.
Have you sent a letter anywhere?
Not really, because we completed the national service at the time when we were told there was embargo on public sector employment, and given the conditions, the challenges like discrimination, where you apply to a private sector and you will not get any reply. But I would say that one major challenge why we are being through this is the non-enforcement of laws protecting people with disabilities. Let me just go through a few for you. The Labour Act, look at Section 3, subsection E. It is clearly stated that the government shall assist people with disabilities to find jobs. That's one. Then look at the Persons with Disability Act, Section 9. It's clearly stated over there. Then the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which has now been ratified by the Parliament of Ghana. Look at Article 27. It all talks about employment for people with disabilities. So if all these laws are being enforced to the fullest, I don't think we would have been here today.
See, even if the laws are being enforced, you haven't written, so how would you know whether it's working or not?
So we are leading a group, and as I told you, if I had got the opportunity to open some of their CVs to you, you would have seen places that they have applied to. About 50 organizations that they have applied to that they've gotten no response. Majority of us have done that. So if ABCD, somebody did 4 years ago when he's in the house, and me coming here 2 years, I wonder what will happen to me.
The two of us just made the decision that we are going to lead this group. But the fact that only the two of us have not applied to any institution does not mean the rest of our colleagues have not done that. In fact, almost, I think it's only the two of us in that group who have not applied to any institution, because we made the decision to concentrate our time on this, because at the end of the day, we are not looking at ourselves only today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, those of us behind us, and I don't think there is any family in Ghana without a person with disability. If you don't have, disability comes through so many means, accidents. One day, you may have. So that's why we are doing this. It's not just because of us, but because of those of us, those who come after us.
And it's interesting that now training colleges of education, when you finish, they have to go and look for their own schools, because they are not being paid by the government of Ghana. What is going to happen is that other persons with disabilities who will go through that system will also struggle the same way. Those who are in the universities now, when they complete, or those who are finished, even those who are finished their national service today, as I'm speaking, are also going to join the numbers that are there. So what are we talking about? We have been sleeping for quite too long a time, persons with disability. Now we have risen up, and until government respond to us, we are not going to rescind our decision.
No, the most sad aspect is that, during the President's State of the Nation address this year, he said that this year they are going to employ 5,000 people with disabilities. And we've had meetings. We've been doing this for 8 months, and so we've been having a lot of meetings, and we've heard some of the government appointees telling us that this year they are going to start with 1,000. So if we are going to employ even 1,000 people with disabilities this year, and we are struggling to employ just 14.
Cecil,
Yes.
I mean, should it get here?
It's just the start one. In fact, my eyes are full of tears, honestly speaking. Right. My experience, for instance, with the School for the Blind has taught me so many things. You will not believe it, that even educating them is so difficult. If you pick up one A4 rib, which sells in town about 17 cities, the braille which they use, okay, is going for 35 to 40 cities. And you ask yourself, why should this happen in our country called Ghana? Shouldn't that be free? And that is why, for me, together with my friends, we have raised a lot of money to purchase braille, center, computers for some of them to use in terms of educating them. So when I went to their lab, I noticed that the computer lab, I noticed that the computers were outmoded, 486, and then I didn't see anything like even a Pentium, and then I'll go to look at the Core 3 computer. And that should tell you that they have been left alone. If we are to spend money to educate such people, both the blind, other physically challenged people, and so on, I think that we will rather support them, and therefore people who will have, just like the gentleman said, some are from birth. And then if you have a child like that from birth, you will know that it is not a time for you to say you are getting rid of the child because he or she is a disabled person. People would rather take advantage and send such people for much more education so that they will help us. If the government looks at this, if Parliament looks at this and comes up with a special support for all of them, I think we will be moving towards the right direction. Either than that, what is learned will be almost useless. They will be lazy, they will be shy to work and stay in their rooms, and what else? Many more troubles will occur. So this is the time, but then I feel we should also petition Parliament on this issue. Okay? Issue on employment. If we issue Parliament, I think that should be the beginning. But then if we sit down and then talk, we will not get to anywhere.
Thank you. I'm going to take a break here, and I wonder, I mean, we are just talking numbers of 30. Should it be a problem? But then again, another school of thought will say, well, there are no jobs going anywhere, so should they join the normal queue, or should they have an exit pass so they go in front? Stay tuned. We are coming back and we'll continue the discussion of social injustice. Well, thank you very much for staying. And very strange situation. Whole country as Ghana, and just 30, persons with a disability gone through education, and they are fighting for a job. And therefore they're here and they are discussing the issue. I will start with you, Aferi Yabua, that, should you be given sort of a preferential treatment to sneak through to get a job, or should you, join the queue like all of us and, fight till it's your turn?
I think that we have a special case as people with disabilities. Unlike our able-bodied colleagues, we cannot go into doing these blue-collar jobs. So we only have to rely solely on the profession we have acquired from school. So if you want us to join the normal queue, then I think it will be unfair, and also given all the laws and the acts that are backing us. So I think we have a special case. But I just want to put on record also that yes, we are here representing that group, that 30 or 36 people, but we also want to talk for everybody, all persons with disabilities, because mind you, there are hundreds of graduates, unemployed graduates with disabilities also at home. So, and we are not pursuing this cause. We are not doing this, as you said, Nana, in your intro, because we want to be shown sympathy or just be heard. We are doing so because anything less will be an unequivocal denial of our rights and the rejection of development and growth. So, but we believe that the government cares, or the government respects the inherent rights or the self-worth and the dignity of people with disabilities, and therefore will do things right in order to ensure the employment of people with disabilities.
Let me go on the phone and speak to Yao Deborah, who's the president of Ghana Federation of the Disabled. Yao, you're welcome to the show.
I'm grateful.
Yao, I have a very strange, sad, and unique story here in my studio. I have two fine gentlemen who have muscled or worked their way through the Ghana education system, which is a tough one. They've come out as graduates, they are visually impaired, and now fighting just so that the system can now give them the opportunity to also serve their nation, pay their taxes like everyone else will. How challenging is this situation?
Well, thank you very much. You know, job opportunity for persons with disability, especially the blind, is a very crucial one, in the sense that usually if you leave it to the whims of the employer to decide on their pay, more often than not, they think that persons with disability, especially the blind, are not going to offer efficient service. And for that matter, they are always reluctant to take on the blind and, for that matter, persons with disabilities. But interestingly, previously, when those people are forced to take them on, in other words, when they are compelled by circumstances to take them on, they later regret for their initial unwillingness to take them, because usually they find them to be very hardworking, and students are always appreciative of their output. And for that matter, we believe that if the government can come up with an employment policy for persons with disability, so that anybody who gets the right be employed, so the state guarantees their employment, that will solve the problem for us. I can give you an example of an African country that has taken that step in this direction, and that is Niger. President Mohamedou Issoufou has come out with a legislation that all persons with disability who have qualifications in Niger should be taken on. So 5% of the labor force in Niger are guaranteed for persons with disability. Wow. And I think that that is the way for us to go back. As I said, people are doubtful of their abilities. And even though they will not even put you to the test to see whether you will be able to live up to expectations or not. And again, they think that the effect of disability will impact negatively on their productivity. And but those who have taken on disability will attest to the fact that they actually live up to the expected result.
Yeah, my next question is that, I mean, I've checked the date and we are in 2015. Why are we fighting this battle in 2015? I mean, the 21st century is 15 years old.
Come again?
I said the 21st century is 15 years old. Why are we fighting this primitive battle?
I must say that people who are even intellectually enlightened are still living in the retrospect about persons with disability, in other words, disability. And these are the very people who go to Europe, they study with blind people, they study with persons with disability, they even give account of their experiences with them. But when they come back to Ghana and Africa, their story is different. They always behave like our fathers who did not even have the positive experience of disability. So our thinking is that some of them are deliberate in their attitude towards persons with disability. That is why we think that legislation should come in, or some special intervention should come from the government. Other than that, it will take us another century for persons with disability to be fully integrated in our employment system?
Yeah, at the moment, my brothers here are thinking that maybe strike is what Ghana responds to. So, you know, they will hit the road and demonstrate to say, listen, we just want a job, give us a job.
You see, I agree with them because, you know, the Federation has not been inactive about this issue. We have taken the step to consult, contact the Minister for Labor and Employment and Labor Relations, and it was through this effort that the Minister got the President to make a statement in the State of the Nation address that 5,000 jobs will be created, will be given to persons with disability. Again, we also went to the Minister, and the Minister gave out the assurance that so far they have made 35 jobs to be extended to persons with disability immediately. But I'm also getting information that the new director of GIZA, who has also been given opportunity or the directive to create employment for the persons with disability, is also not showing positive response to this directive. And for that matter, you realize that there are still obstacles being placed in their way by prospective employees. So I believe that if they hit the ground, at least people will appreciate the value that is attached to their education and the prospect that they hold to work for Mother Ghana for the benefit of not only themselves, their family, and the nation at large.
Fighting for a job to serve your country. Kofi, what's the relationship between you and is it a new is it NYEP or
YA boss?
YA boss.
Oh, the relationship, I would say we have any relationship because we started with the minister, and then Kobe Champon was then the boss there, and the minister instructed Kobe Champon to do what he has done. So all that we need is to get our insurance letters form through the GIDA or through YE to the minister. So for us,
who's the new boss now? Is it Kwagbenu?
Vincent Kwagbenu is now the new boss.
Okay.
And that is where we are. But it's so interesting that he is telling us that if we want to go and demonstrate the Flagstaff, we can go to Burma camp. We can go to hell. As part of my social responsibility, I voted for a government. So I expect that when I vote for that government will see to my welfare and give me a job. And if I vote for you, come and tell me that I can go to hell. He will see us on the Accra Full Park. When he see us there, then you know that yes, we have a social contract that he must respect.
What are your sentiments, Yabwafere?
I just can't believe it because I just, can we develop to our maximum potential as a country if we are actively and tacitly allowing the exclusion of certain persons or groups? Can we? We can't. You know, it's just the failure of the government, not only the government, but everybody, to recognize the kind of potential people with disabilities have. I think that is the major challenge we are having. So if the society will recognize, will learn, will learn and know the kind of the rich potentials we have as people with disabilities, I think we wouldn't be here today. So we are just, we have our demands. If tomorrow we wake up and the government says, we are going to meet your demands, there will be no need for the demonstration. But if it should be as it is, then on 22nd September, that's Tuesday, we're going to start from Obrasport. We will march all the way to Hasefo Park. That is where we are going to convert, and we will make sure we stay there. If it is going to take us a year to stay there for our demands to be met, we are prepared to do so.
Kofi, let me ask, are we saying all this because you want jobs, or you need some perks like extra money or extra something from the government? Are we saying all this for just to say you want the opportunity to work?
Nana, if you give me 10,000 Ghana cedi today, 22nd I'll go on demonstration. I don't need the money. I want one to serve Mother Ghana and other persons with disability who are not fortunate to come to where we have gotten to should also be employed. should be given the right status in the society to work. So it is not money. You give me 10,000 or 1 million Ghana cedi, then the demonstration will come on to the second. I will take that money from you. You see me on the street. That tells you that I don't need your money now. It is we serving and society recognizing that we are part of society. I vote. You vote. Whatever you do, I do the same thing. I school with colleagues who didn't even get a class I got, who can see with their bare eyes. So what are we talking about here?
Wow. Wow. I mean, what job would you want to do? Have you got like a preferential job that you'd want to do?
For now, we have not set the cap to fix the cap to any preferential job allocated to person with disability. As I put on my PC to you, if it is about typing, if it is about any working office, my computer can speak to me, and the same computer you can use. If it's about somebody who cannot climb a staircase, the ground floor should be there for that person to work. If it's somebody who cannot speak, like the way we are doing, there's something that person can still do, irrespective of his disability.
Yeah, I'm even getting sad here. Have I still got Yao on the phone? Yeah, I can't believe that, you know, we live in a country where you have to fight just for the opportunity to serve your nation through a decent, honest job.
It is not to make comment that Ghana has taken positive steps towards improving the disability situation in Ghana. At least we can boast of legislation that protect our rights. We can boast of social interventions that also guarantee some safety nets for us. But when it comes to implementation, that is where the attitude of the people bear on such interventions and such state opportunities. But I must indicate that state has helped to educate all these people. And one thing is, always people frown on persons with disability in the streets begging, and they don't see why we are in the streets. These are some of the frustrations that lead people to the streets, because he has been able to go through the strains and stresses. And he has to be considered for jobs. And some people, for no reason than disability, will stand in your way. So my point is that if indeed there is a freeze on employment, then there should be positive discrimination in favor of persons with disability. But if there are no, if there is no freeze, as government supposed to say, then let us create the opportunities. Let's give opportunities to persons with disability who are ripe for job.
Thank you very much, Yao. Thank you very much. Let me come back to Yabua. Do you know if there's a freeze with persons or persons with disability, or is it just for able beings? This freeze on employment.
Well, what we know is there is a freeze on public sector employment, but that's why we are saying that, as Mr. Debraja said, whether if there is freeze, then we think that we need a special, we have a special case, and therefore we should be given a special treatment. Because, I mean, I cannot go to do these blue-collar jobs that will put food into my mouth as my able-bodied colleague. So we are asking that, well, but you know, the government has been telling that there's no freeze. So if there's no freeze, then I think that matter doesn't come in at all.
Let me take a break, and then when we come back, social injustice conversation continues. Social injustice, a very sad and a very peculiar case, and as I keep saying that the 21st century is 15 years old. It does not get modern like that in this world. And here we are arguing on such a primitive issue. But as I was searching and searching, right in my own backyard is the ambassador for persons with for visually impaired persons. So let's go to the phones and speak to Gifty Auntie. Gifty, have I got you on the phone?
Yes, I'm here, Nana.
Gifty, good evening. I have in my studio Doche Kofiga and Yeboah Ferry, the spokespersons for unemployed graduates with disability. They've gone through the mail. Indeed, they are graduates, and all they want is the opportunity to earn an honest wage, 9 to 5, just like everybody else. What's gotten to the point where on the 22nd of September this month, they want to hit the road until this request is done. What comments can you make on this?
I think all Ghanaians must join them on the streets to demand their right. What should have been done long time ago? It is sad. It's a disgrace. It's a huge blot on the conscience of this country. That we have how many of them who have struggled, even our educational systems, the tertiary institutions. I'm sure they've told you about how they struggled through to even get to where they are now, to graduate. And now to get a job too, they have to beg for it. What are state institutions doing? Why can't they be incorporated into, why can't they be employed? I heard one of them talk on radio, I think a few days ago, and raised this issue about government putting a seal on employment and, thanks to big old Bretton Woods institution, IMF and the like, so we can't employ people anymore. But this is an exceptional case. This is a crucial thing. When they are out there on the street, they are being chased, they are being killed on the street. There are no provisions made for them. They have graduated, they want a job, and I'm sure they sent applications. And we have this attitude where we think we should be doing them a favor. For the fact that they've been able to go to school, it is a favor. They must be grateful. It's a privilege. They have a right to employment. And I support them. They must demand it, and government must set up. I am sure, knowing these two gentlemen, I am sure they have approached the Minister of Employment several times.
Well, they have.
And I will add my voice to call on the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection to also set up and look in their direction and make sure that they are incorporated, they are actually, they are absorbed into the system, given a job to do.
Well, Gifty, I want to say thank you very much for that, adding a voice. And Gifty is calling that not only she's an ambassador for the persons with who are visually impaired. And
there's an important point I want to make. Yeah. Okay. Let's take it that there is an embargo on public sector employment. Since when has this embargo been in place? I think it's been more than a year now. So didn't the government know this when the president said in his State of the Nation address that they said they are going to employ 5,000 people with disabilities? So I think the issue of the embargo doesn't come in at all. It's a non-issue at all for us.
And I think you have a point there.
Sure.
You see, they say 5,000 people, and how many of you? About 30 for now?
About 30. It's just 34.
36, yeah. 36, yeah.
If you can't give 36, you say 5,000. Are you sleeping?
What's the plan for the 22nd of September? I mean, so between now and the 22nd, what do you want? Either an employment letter or demonstration?
Yes. We don't need money. We don't need anything. You give one. There are two things. Policies to get all persons with disabilities who are employable to be employed. And those that are waiting for appointment letters, they get it. That is the demand. If you don't get this,
so if you are posted into teaching, posted into admin, where would you want to be posted to?
For me, as I told you, I did political science, I majored in political science. So if it is teaching, if it is anywhere that I think my skills can be brought to bear, but
we have 1 minute, so use 30 seconds to wrap it up for me.
So I'm calling on all viewing us. Whether you are a person with disability, whether you are visually impaired, whether you are a worker, whether you are a friend, civil society organization who are interested in person with issues, person with disability issue, all of you come to Obra Sport on the 22nd of September. We are going to demand for our right from there to Accra as of Okpa. We will be there. Viewers, this is not the kind of demonstration you have not seen before. We are going to be there until our demands are met. So if you're going to take us 1 week, we'll be sleeping on the grass of Oak Park till we get the demands, our demand being met. If the chief of staff come and give us our letter today or tomorrow, we will not go ahead with it.
Well, folks. Let me say thank you to Tanti's Fashion, who makes my shirt, and to reach Tanti's is 024-366-2001, 024-366-2001. You give them a call to get yourself a nice shirt. I want to say thank you to Aisha Ibrahim, Mark Bright, Evans Mensa, and Malik Dabo, all for putting the show together, and not forgetting Lord. But I want to say a special thank you to Doche Kofiga and Yabu Afere for championing this cause, which indeed, if we are a society with morals and a conscience, we would all be behind them to fight this cause. It doesn't sound right. If it looks like a duck and swims like a duck and walks like a duck, then it's a duck. So if it doesn't sound right and doesn't feel right, it's definitely not right. My name is Nanan Sokal. Tomorrow we're back to do this again, but on personality profile, you don't want to meet the Colossus E.T. Mensah. So on Friday, tune in and watch personality profile, and I'm talking to E.T. Mensah himself. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.